If this is not shit, I can't imagine what shit looks like. What's up, y'all? It's MariaVicz again and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I just wanted to kind of like sit down and like, you know, just chill, talk. As you guys can tell, I went to get my cornrows done and it's kind of brought back memories of a really bad time that I went to a hair salon and then they like really messed up my braids. They really messed up my cut. So I just kind of wanted to share a little story time of my worst haircut experience, and I don't know if you guys would be interested in, you know, seeing like what can happen in hair salons, or at least hearing it from me. I know that it was an experience that I definitely don't wish upon anybody, and I definitely wish that I just didn't get a haircut that day. I just kind of wish that I stayed home that day. But anyways, if you guys are looking forward to this video, I hope that you guys are. Make sure to give it a big thumbs up and also let me know in your comments if you've had any, like, you know, bad hair salon or like spa experiences or anything like that, like beauty related. I can just imagine that people have had bad experiences with waxing, with threading and all those things. I don't know, I just kind of feel like talking, especially because I got like my braids done. I just felt like sharing, so I was like, you know what, let's turn on this camera, let me share my worst experience at the hair salon and let's see who else can relate, because you know, if it's just me, well then that sucks. Before we get into this video, I just want to say thank you so much for your support. Once again, if you are a returning subscriber, as always, I don't know what makes you come back every single week, but I appreciate the support regardless. And if you are new to my channel and this is the first time that you're meeting me, my name is MariaVicz and I am now your new friend. If you'd like to stay up to date as to whenever I upload videos, make sure to hit the subscribe button, turn it from red to white, and you'll be updated as to every single time that I upload a video, especially if you ding the little notification bell right beside it. I try to post every once in a while. I try to do it at least once a week, once every 2 weeks or so. It's whenever I have time, basically. You guys do have to understand that I have a job and everything, so I try to find time to do these things. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so like I said, this is gonna be a story time about the worst experience I've ever had at a hair salon. To give a little bit of context with my hair type, or I guess the tendencies that I have with my hair, I don't really like cutting my hair too often, and that's because, first of all, not that I'm cheap, but I like saving money whenever I can. And with my hair, because I do like my length, like the shortest I've ever had my hair was back in high school and I had it up to here, and even that's considered, I think, medium length hair. So I've always had long hair in general, especially after high school. I've never had it anywhere like above, like even where my cornrows end, which is right like below my bust. That's with them obviously shrinking because of the cornrows themselves, but my actual hair, when it's just free, I've never cut it any lower than that, and any higher than that, I should say, any shorter. I have wavy-ish, mainly just pin straight hair with a little bit of a wave on it. And like I said, I like my length, so I don't go very often. And when I do, I used to go to this place. It's kind of like a franchise, so there's like multiple of them everywhere. I don't know if it's just a Canadian store or a Canadian like brand franchise or whatever, but it's called First Choice Haircutters. And I've never had an issue with them because I've been going to them since I was in elementary/high school. You know, I've always been a believer that, you know, unless I'm like styling my hair, like curling or putting highlights or like any type of color, any type of very specific procedures on it, such as like, you know, perming, I don't see the need in going somewhere super professional for just simple haircut. The most I've ever done to my hair, besides dyeing it, which was with a friend of mine, most I've ever done is side bangs. And side bangs also turned out not so good on me. I did them back in like grade 7 and they lasted all the way until grade 11. So it's roughly like 4.5 years. I just never, you know, I've just always been a simple girl, like just trim my hair, that's all I really need. Everything else, I see the reason why going to a professional place would be beneficial, but haircuts, trimming, is not a huge science. Like anybody can do that, or so I thought. So anyways, I've always gone to the same First Choice haircutters. I usually go to one where I used to live, or I used to go to one near my work. And not gonna share specific spots because this is not a diss to the company, and I don't want to make it seem as if I'm dissing, because I'm the type of person, you know, that if I can't do whatever you're doing and you're pretty skilled at it, I can't complain about the service that you give to me. However, as I'll get into the story in further detail, if you're supposed to know what you're doing, but you don't offer to do such a thing. This was like, what, 3 years ago at most, I want to say? 3.5 years ago. So anyways, I go to a new location. At the time, there was just 2 girls. The only girl that was free at the time, she said, oh, so what would you like to get? And I said, I'd like to get a trim, and could you also just do a French braid on me if you guys do braids? And if you guys aren't familiar with hair, because I wasn't either until like relatively recently, French braids are the ones that go down this way. So imagine my cornrows like this, but it's a single braid. At least I wanted a single braid on each side of my head, and it goes down this way. She said, yeah, I can do that, no problem. And then she sits me down because she was free at the time. So I was like, okay, cool. let's do it up. She sat me in the chair, put the little like apron on me or whatever. Apron, is that what it's called? Because I know it's not a robe. Anyways, the giant dress bib. Okay, well, she put that on me. And then, you know, I like making small talk with my hairdressers because if you're gonna touch my head in any way for an extended period of time, I kind of need to know not only what you're doing, but also I just like talking, especially if you're getting that close to my intimate bubble space. I like knowing what's up. So anyways, she's like, you know, starting to touch my hair, and like she's like, oh, you have such pretty hair, all these things. I'm like, thanks, whatever. She asked me again what I wanted, and I told her just a cut, and at the end, could you just do some braids? That's when I find out that she's an apprentice from a hair college that is also in my city, but they do really good stuff there. I actually went there for my prom hair updo, and you know, they do good stuff. It's like totally fine, whatever. So then, but then she told me she was an apprentice, and I asked her like, oh, okay, so like, is this part of your apprenticeship? Like, how many hours do you have to do or whatever? She's like, oh yeah, so it's a course that I have to do. I'm just doing my hours. I have to do like, I think 300 hours of the apprenticeship, and then I'll be able to actually get like, not licensed, but I'll be able to graduate as part of my program. And I'm like, okay, so how long have you been doing this? And she was like, I've been doing this for 1.5 years. That should have been my first red flag or first warning sign or something, because if y'all know, I'm not here throwing shade at anybody who's getting started in a business. Obviously the beginning stages of a business is obviously going to be way harder than in the middle, at least experience wise. The more experience you get, the better you are at something, usually. I'm not dissing anybody, you know, who's starting new in anything. To be honest, if people don't give you the chance at the beginning, how are you supposed to get better? How are you supposed to get clients? How are you just even supposed to grow? I'm all about giving people, you know, the chance that they deserve in order to, you know, improve their skills. But when it comes to something so permanent, relatively permanent and visible about you, such as your hair, I prefer going to somebody who knows what they're doing a little bit more than just 1.5 years worth of ability and skill. That should have been my first red flag. I should have waited for the other girl to be done, but whatever. I decided to, okay, she has to learn at some point, and I'm already seated, so let's get this going. She starts cutting my hair, and you know, she's talking a lot, which is fine. Like I said, I like small talk, but she was talking a lot, and I don't know if that's like slowed down the process, but by the time that she was done cutting my hair, it had been like an hour. And guys, I'm not even kidding, like I just asked for a trim. I didn't ask for 6 inches off of my hair in the night evening. I didn't ask for like bangs. I didn't ask for anything in particular, just besides a fucking trim. It was an hour afterwards, and actually she made them uneven. I don't trust hairdressers now anymore. They usually like mess something up, especially with such long hair, which you would think it's easier to like fix because you have so much room to fix your errors, but that's not the case. And it ended up being uneven, so then she had to like take an extra few minutes to kind of like even it out. But then afterwards, when it comes to the braids or whatever, I asked her, I'm like, how long do you think this is gonna take? Because it had already been an hour. And she was like, oh no, it shouldn't be more than like 40 minutes. I'm like, okay. Like I said before, I'm not here to judge anybody who knows what they're doing better than I do, but I was a little skeptical as to why it would take her so long, especially if they were just French braids. Like, what? But again, I don't judge. I don't know how to braid my own hair or anybody else's hair, so I shouldn't be talking. Just like if I don't know how to cook, I shouldn't be judging your cooking, you know? So she starts off my hair, starts on this side, I think I remember, and then she braided my hair, and she was taking so long. Like, guys, forever. Not doing the braids tight enough. She was not pulling enough hair. She was just simply taking too much time, and I'm out here just like, you know, luckily I don't have work today. Luckily, you know, I don't have anything important to do today, because if I was in a rush, I cannot walk out of the salon with half my hair fucking braided, and I'm not gonna pay for a service and then just take it out like 20 minutes later, you know what I mean? Because it looks that bad. So she does one side of my hair. It was mad loose, and ironically enough, some girl that was waiting to be served next, she just came around or whatever, and she asked, oh wow, so you guys do braids here, how long does it usually take you to like a full head of just the French braids? And she's like,
oh, you really like cannot rush this process. It's like if you rush, it's gonna like mess it up.
I'm out here, I'm like, girl, I'm looking in the mirror, and like, not to throw bare shade, but I'm gonna throw the entire tree. This girl said you have to take your time, otherwise it will look like shit. Well, guess what? It looked like shit, and she was taking all the time she needed plus more. So I was just like there, I was kind of like giggling to myself like, oh my god, if this is not shit, I can't imagine what shit looks like. And it was so much looser than this side. This side was a lot tighter than this one. Okay, if you don't know anything about braids, that's totally fine. But when you do French braids and like proper tight braids, I'm not talking about like the loose ones, which are nice for once in a while. If you get headache very frequently, like it's fine if you don't want like a really tight braid. I totally get that. I'm that kind of person too sometimes. But sometimes I would take off my stuff, but I don't know if you guys can see but like this is right to my scalp. From the little you guys can see there, it's right on my scalp. And like I literally almost tear up whenever people do my braids properly, because it's supposed to be that tight, at least in my taste. Everybody can do their own thing, but I like my braids to be tight so they last a while, not just a few hours. So then so much looser, and she notices it, and then she's like,
oh, this side is a lot tighter, I'd like to fix it.
and I'm just like, okay, that's fine, but like you have customers waiting, and I'm not this kind of person that usually says that, but like you have customers waiting. You've spent already like an hour and 45 minutes on me just on trim and on like doing both my braids, one of them being a lot more loose than the other. Like I'm kind of hungry. And I was like, listen, this person just needs a simple trim, and I'm getting a little frustrated and hungry. I didn't say frustrated, but I was like, I'm getting a little hungry. I'm gonna go to Subway. If you want, I can even leave my cell phone here so you trust that I come back and pay for what you've already done, and let me just go eat and I'll come back.
She's like, okay, if you want to do that, sure.
Like I said, guys, she was talking a lot, so I feel like that's also what like was taking her a while. She got really in detail into like a lot of life story things, which if you trust me as a client to listen to all those things, I appreciate it, just like I do with anybody else. If somebody has to rant to me about something, somebody wants to vent, even if I'm not that close to them, I've always been that kind of person, like vent to me. But if you have a job to do that I'm paying you for, and this is kind of like a time sensitive thing, especially because now you're losing business because you are taking way too much time on me and not spending enough time on other people who are next. There's a limit between customer service, about like taking your time and detail with a customer, that way they get the best customer service possible, but I wasn't even getting that. She was just talking a lot, not doing her best work, like literally physically, and then just like taking too much time, you know what I mean? So then I go get my sandwich, I eat it, I come back at some point when she's done with a client, and mind this, I went to the Subway looking like a rat's nest on my head. Not a rat's nest, I'm sorry, but like a really messy doll. Like a 3-year-old could have braided my hair better. I could have braided my hair better, to be honest, and I don't know how to braid hair. I come back and then she continues with this. Sorry, she continues with this one again because this ended up, whichever side ended up being looser, she wanted to touch it up again. So then I let her do that. Another 30 minutes passed by. So if you guys are keeping track, not including my visit to Subway, my entire appointment took like 3 hours. For a trim and 2 braids, like, that shouldn't be. So at the end of it, her supervisor, I guess, because she has to be supervised, I guess, every time she does her hours or whatever. To be honest, I always say thank you, obviously, whenever I get a service done, whether it's like nails, you know, food at a restaurant, my hair. I always say thank you, but I always, when I like it, I say I love it. Thank you so very much. Like, this is amazing. And I just said thank you when I got off the chair. I go to pay, and she was like, my girl, let's just call her Stephanie. So like my girl was right there, because again, I don't remember her name anyways. Stephanie was right there beside like the supervisor who was cashing me out. The supervisor told me, okay, so it's gonna be this and that, but do you like what she did on your hair? And then I'm like I didn't want to be honest because she was right there. Had she asked me when like she wasn't there, that's like a lot less pressure. But I told her, I'm like, listen, I'll be honest, I just kind of have to go. Something popped up, and you know, like I made up a lie. I was like, I have to go, like my mom needs me for something at home, and that's why I have to go. Braids, they're whatever. They're not the best, but I didn't say that they're not the best, but I was like, they're whatever. Yeah. And I don't remember if I said that they're not my favorite or whatever it is. She was like, I'm not gonna charge you the full amount for the braid. I'm only gonna charge you for the haircut. This is them charging me without even mentioning about how bad the haircut went as well. Like, it shouldn't take you an hour to trim long hair. Even if my hair was down to my ankles, if it's just a trim that you're doing, unless you're washing my entire head, like it should not take you more than 20 minutes to cut my hair. At least in my experiences, I've always gone to places and they always, you know, a simple trim, do whatever you must do, you just cut it off and then like that's it. That's what happened, and she charged me and somehow I still tipped. I don't know if it's just me just being shy or whatever, but I just shouldn't have tipped. I know that this happens a lot, like when people are shy to, like, you know, I don't want to be rude about the service that I received, but it was just kind of funny because I was like, why am I tipping if the service was that bad? I don't want to give her nothing because she did do her work. She did do as I asked. I just shouldn't have tipped. But anyways, luckily my house was like no more than like a 10-minute walk away from me at the time, because like I walked back home, and no joke guys, it was a waste of my money because I took the braids right out. I was like I could have done a better job at this with the same amount of time that she took, because I'm not a professional. And like I've said like 3 times already in this video, I am not one to diss a skill that I don't have on somebody else. But if you're supposed to know what you're doing and you're offering to do something that you don't know how to do it properly, I don't see why I can't judge you for it, because you braided my hair literally worse than I could have done in the same amount of time, and you are working to be a professional in this field. How are you gonna tell me that braids that you're not rushing are looking so bad after 45 minutes, are loose, are literally like kind of embarrassing to look at in the mirror? Like, I'm not one to judge, but hello, if you're supposed to be skilled in something, kind of like, you know, admit when you're not skilled at something so you don't do it. Just continue practicing what you are really good at. Like a chef. Like if you're not good at making pasta, don't offer me pasta, because I'm gonna judge your pasta even though I can't make freaking pasta. If you're good at making sushi, stick to making sushi, you know what I mean? So yeah, I walked home, took him right out. I got a haircut and it was super uneven, and the next haircut, which I did myself, like I want to say like maybe a year ago, I did it myself. Obviously it ended up being free, and as a non-skilled person cutting hair, you know, it was pretty decent. Obviously it probably was uneven, or more uneven than it could have been if I did it more often, practiced more, or had a license to cut hair. And then I went today. I got a very nice lady who did my hair, and she did very good, and obviously she did my cornrows very fast too, very skilled, and she was very nice. So I don't know, a nostalgic moment. Well, not really nostalgic, because I'm pretty sure nostalgia has to do with positive vibes and everything. But anyways, I just felt like sharing that story because it just brought back memories of the experience that I had back in the day, like back 3 years ago or so. Again, no shade against first choice hair cutters. I know everybody begins somewhere. Doesn't matter what it is, whether it's a burger joint or anything like that. I'm not out here to judge anybody individually or the franchise, but it was just so frustrating to be in that experience. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the story, and maybe you learned a little something from this, even if it is like, you know, speak up about something if you don't like a service that you are being provided. That's all I wanted to kind of do in this video, and I hope finally the sun is coming out again. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, give me a big thumbs up if you did, and I hope that you guys like my braids. If you did, give me a big thumbs up for that too. And like I said, y'all, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. The button's just down there. And also leave me comments down below for any future video ideas that you guys may have, that you guys want me to do in the future, whether they're tags and challenges, whether they're more story times, things about my tongue piercing or anything like that. Speaking of the tongue piercing, I finally got around to filming and editing, because I actually filmed those videos back in March, but I ended up finalizing the editing and everything like that. So if you guys are looking forward to my entire tattoo body gallery, make sure to give me a big thumbs up. And like I said, if you're interested in that video, subscribe. That way you don't miss when I upload it. Oh, and also that video is coming in Spanish as well. So stay tuned if you're bilingual, or if you speak Spanish as a predominant language. Stay tuned for that, because I'm super excited to publish it. It's my first all Spanish video that I do on YouTube, and that's exciting. So yeah, stay tuned for that, guys. And like I said, as usual, thank you so much for your support. And until next time, guys, keep up the awesome, never change, and I'll see you guys next time. Dios me lo bendiga, and Maria Victoria out.